football fans. I'm the Fantasy Football Girl, and this is As the League Turns, a weekly digest of the NFL's biggest, baddest, and you know it by now, best drama. The show that doesn't necessarily dig deep for stats, but does dig deep for dirt. On Saturday, I posted an episode of Secret Weapons previewing the Week 9 matchup between the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. Many of you disagreed with me and suspected that Tony Romo would outduel Matt Ryan and in doing so hand Atlanta their first loss of the season. Well, while the Cowboys defense did end Ryan's touchdown streak, their offense wasn't able to top the Falcons, who remain undefeated. It seems the only team upset after the game were the Cowboys. Their owner, the ever-charming and so humble Jerry Jones, was perhaps the most upset member of the organization. Apparently, he was locked out of the locker room after the game. Yep, the coaches and players just didn't let him in. In fact, Matt Berry of NBC5 News in Dallas tweeted the following: "Jerry Jones just pounded the locker room door because no one would let him in. It's the angriest I've seen him all year." Really? The angriest he's been all year? Wait, do you think it's because he was pointedly locked out of the locker room, or because his team has a 3-5 record? Either way, can you imagine how red his face was? The Kansas City Chiefs are just awful. Like, maybe even worse than the Jacksonville Jaguars. At least the Jags, who also have a 1-7 record, have the excuse of being a young and developing team with a new owner. The Chiefs, on the other hand, have a ridiculous amount of talent, from receiver Dwayne Bowe to running back Jamal Charles. So what's the problem? Well, Coach Romeo Crennel isn't quite sure, but he thinks it might have something to do with him ignoring his offense. In an interesting move on Monday morning, he fired himself as the team's defensive coordinator and put linebackers coach Gary Gibbs on the job. According to the Kansas City Star, when asked about the change, Crennel explained that he didn't want to give the perception that he was just a defensive coach and didn't care about other parts of the team. He added that in stepping away from his defensive coordinator duties, he had hoped to show players that he was concerned about the whole team. A head coach interested in the whole team. That's a novel concept. We'll see if the Chiefs can turn it around in Week 10 on Monday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh gosh, I'm wincing already. Speaking of the Steelers, they were able to defeat the defending Super Bowl champion New York Giants on Sunday in spite of a less than favorable record on the road and undeterred by the lack of accommodations. I know, I said they'd lose. I was wrong. If you remember in last week's Secret Weapons, I explained that the hotel the Steelers had booked in Jersey City was still without power due to Hurricane Sandy, and as a result, the Steelers would have to fly in and out of MetLife Stadium on game day. Well, as it turns out, that hotel did end up having power by Sunday, but the Steelers organization decided to travel anyway, giving up their rooms to evacuees. Nice way to pay it forward, Pittsburgh. I'd also like to point out that the Giants collected more than 20,000 pounds of food and necessities to be donated to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, which will provide aid to victims of Hurricane Sandy. So even though they lost the game, in my book, they're still big winners. Over the past few weeks, I've been updating you on the Colts head coach Chuck Pagano and his battle with leukemia. Since stepping away from the team in order to receive chemotherapy treatments and battle the disease, Coach Pagano has made seemingly great strides. In fact, he was well enough to address his team personally in the locker room after they defeated the Miami Dolphins on Sunday. As you can imagine, his speech was incredibly moving. Even I, who am by no means a Colts fan, admittedly teared up when the coach said he planned to be around long enough to dance with his daughters at 2 more weddings and hoist the Lombardi Trophy together with his team. On Monday morning, Pagano's oncologist announced that his cancer was in remission. Of course, that doesn't mean that he's cured or that he doesn't have a long road still ahead of him, but it is certainly good, if not inspiring, news. Thanks so much for watching. This has been As the League Turns, and I'm the Fantasy Football Girl reminding you to always win big.